Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Jaded Blossom's April 2022 release is now available and it is absolutely adorable. Lots of great sentiments and girl gnomes. If you are interested in any of the products from the release, I do have links provided in the description box below. Now let's take a peek at this fabulous new release. I'll start with my favorite item, the girl Gnome Dies. So Jaded Blossom already has a regular boy gnome die set, and now they've released the girl gnomes. The body is different from the boy gnomes, but all of the accessories will work for either the girl or the boy. And I love how the girl gnome set has the sentiment high for her to hold. There's also an add-on. This is the spring add-on, and this is so much fun. There are butterfly wings, bee wings, a little hat, a mushroom, a flower, and also the sentiment mom. If you're not familiar with the original gnome die set, here's a look at it. Adorable little gnome with the mustache and the beard, and there are several add-ons. There's the Valentine, St. Patrick's Day, and also the Easter add-on. It's fun to mix and match all the different sets. The possibilities are endless. The next item in the new release is the Mother's Day Sentiment Stamp Set, and there's also a coordinating outline die set. I love having those coordinating dies. So lots of great sentiments on this set. Next up is the Congratulations Stamp Set, and there's also the coordinating outline dies. I love all the different sentiments that you can mix and match with the words congrats and congratulations. There's also a thank you sentiment stamp set and the coordinating outline dies. It's another set with lots of different words that you can mix and match. I think my favorite combination is thank you for the card. As card makers, we're the ones that would send a card to thank someone for sending us a card. Then we have the thanks set, so very similar to the thank you, except we have the word thanks and that coordinating die. And Jaded Blossom really has you covered with quite a variety of people that we can thank. It has neighbor, daughter, teacher, mom, dad, house sitter, so many different options. Another new set is the Happy Hello Add On 2. There's already a Happy Hello Add On 1, and now you'll have different font options for the words hello and happy, and there's also the coordinating dies. Then to go along with the original Happy Hello, they have released the outline dies. So the original Happy Hello and Happy Hello add-on stamp set were already available, but now they have the outline dies. This is one of my favorite sentiment sets, so I was excited to see they now have the outline dies. Another new set is the sentiment strip dies, and you can see the wide variety of different sizes, and these work perfectly with the newly released sentiment sets and also the original Happy Hello set. The final item I received from the new release is the floral frame with outline die. Now this is not available individually. This is one of the freebies if you order at least $60 before tax and shipping, and you must also purchase at least one item from the new release. The freebie offer is only available from April 15th through Sunday the 17th and while supplies last. Let's go ahead and get started with my cards. The paper collection I'll be using is by Pebbles. This is Lovely Moments. It is an older collection. If it is still available, I will add links in the description box below. Bought it a couple years ago and just never had a chance to use it, but it's perfect with this set of cards. For card design number 1, I have this beautiful pink floral paper with gold foil finish. I'm adding a strip of soft pink cardstock that has pre-embossed polka dots all over it. Then I'll use some Love from Lizzie peel-offs in the gold color. This is the pinstripe style, just adding one along the side of that embossed cardstock. It'll add some contrast and some beautiful shine. I do like to cut the ends of the peel-offs a little bit wider than my paper, then wrap those ends around the back. And I put ATG tape on the back and I'm layering it on some dark brown cardstock. I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 5.5 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Now it's time to assemble one of the gnomes. For the skin tones for most of my gnomes in this video, I'm using this paper collection from P13 called Skin Tones. It's a really nice thick cardstock, and there are 6 different skin tones included. I know it doesn't cover all of the skin tones in the world, but it has a really good variety. I've cut out the main background of the girl gnome. Just use some white cardstock since you're really not going to see any of that. Then I added the skirt, used some solid pink cardstock. The next piece I adhered is the face, and this gnome will wear the little sunbonnet, so I will cut off the top of the traditional gnome hat, otherwise it'll stick out and look rather odd for this little gnome. Now I can attach the hat. I'm using liquid adhesive and also putting a thin strip of double-sided tape on the back side, just holding the rim of the hat against the body. Then I'll add the other 2 pieces to the hat. Now this is optional, but I like having that extra stitch detail. You could use 2 different colors of cardstock, or you could also use pattern paper on the hat. That would be really cute as well. Next I'll add the nose, and I am popping it up using a thin foam square. Then I'll add the braids, and I cut these out from the skin tone cardstock. Just putting a little bit of glue on the top corner of those braids. Now this gnome's going to wear some cute little white shoes. You also have the option of the bare feet, and I'll be doing both throughout this video. I assembled one of the flowers, and this is included in the spring add-on set. And my little girl gnome will be holding one of the mushrooms, and I've already assembled this. I'll put some foam squares on the back side and adhere it right in front, and I already have her little hands attached. So there is the finished gnome. She is so adorable. I will be popping up the entire image with some more foam dimension. I'm using a couple of sizes of the foam squares, and I do trim down a few of those pieces so I can get in some of the smaller areas. For the top of the shoe, I did add a little bit thicker dimension just to make sure everything is at the same level. And I'm adding just one other little piece for the back side of the flower and the leaves. Then I'll remove the release paper and adhere my gnome on top of the embossed cardstock portion. For this sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out using the coordinating outline dies and also the strip dies. So I have thanks for being amazing. Now the actual sentiment is an amazing, but I masked out the word an so I could just have the word amazing. Another option would be to add the word friend, so I could have thanks for being an amazing friend. There are so many possibilities with the new sentiment sets. I did pop up all of the sentiments using some thin foam strips. To finish off the card, I'll add a little bit of glitter sparkle to the mushroom and also the center of the flower. I'm using a few Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini heart style in gold. Putting 2 of them above the word amazing. And then I almost forgot to add those few little highlight accents using a white gel pen. So there is my finished card. I love how this one turned out, and I did make 2 using this design. I am in love with these girl gnomes. They are absolutely adorable. For card design number 2, I'm using this beautiful pattern paper for the background, lots of pink flowers, and it has that lovely gold finish touch. I didn't want to cover up most of that paper, so I am using a full A2 size piece on a card base. Now I have a piece of vellum, and I'm adding a frame. This is Jaded Blossom's rounded internal scallop die. I'll add some 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape to the back side of the frame and then attach the vellum. And I've already rounded the corners on the vellum so it matches that rounded frame die cut. I'll put some more double-sided tape on the back side, making sure only to place it on the back of that frame. I don't want to show any of that adhesive from the front. I'll remove the release paper and adhere it to the center of the card. So even with that vellum, you can still see some of that beautiful floral design. To save time on the video, I have assembled most of the gnomes already. Now this little girl is holding some happy mail, and the envelope and the mini heart are from the Valentine add-on set. For the sentiment, I'll be adding Happy Hello using the new stamp and coordinating die set. I put some foam dimension on the back side of the little girl gnome, and I'll adhere her on the left side of that rounded frame. I've also put some foam dimension on the back side of the word happy. For the word hello, I'll use some liquid adhesive and glue it down directly. First, I'll attach the word happy, then I'll put down the word hello. And of course, I drop it and get glue all over my craft mat. I was just grateful I didn't drop it on my card. Happy hello is one of my favorite sentiments to use. It works for any card theme. To finish off the card, I'm adding some pink glitter enamel dots, putting 2 of them underneath the sentiment and 1 to the left of the little girl gnome. So there is my finished card, and again, I did make 2 using this design. And I forgot to add just a little bit of glitter sparkle to the heart on the envelope. For card design number 3, I forgot to show it in the video, but I did use a card sketch for inspiration. This is MFT sketch number 579, and I do have that listed over on my coordinating blog post, and that link is provided in the description box below. I selected 2 different pattern papers. I have some tone-on-tone leaf paper for the background, and added a strip of this beautiful floral paper on the left side. Put some Love from Lizzie peel-offs against that floral paper. This is the Racing Green Mirror color in the pinstripe style. Then I layered that background piece on some dark green cardstock, put my card front onto a card base. Now for this card, I will not be adding any gnomes. Instead, I'm using Jaded Blossom's balloon dies. These aren't a new release, but they're new to me, and I thought this would be really fun for a card. I cut out 2 of the balloons from some solid cardstock. This coral pink color and also mustard yellow matches with the floral design. Then I have a couple of the balloon strings, and I used some white shimmer cardstock for those. I was trying to attach the balloon strings using some double-sided tape, but I didn't have the string going up high enough on the back side, so instead I used some liquid adhesive. I'll put some thin foam dimension on the back side of both of the balloons, add some liquid adhesive to the string. I'll put the larger pink balloon down first, and then the yellow will overlap that pink just slightly on the left side. And it's fun that the die set also has the little piece so you can add that little reflection on the balloons. I used some iridescent cardstock for the pink balloon and gold mirror cardstock for the yellow balloon. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment. This is congratulations, you did it. I used the coordinating dies and also the strip dies. I popped up the word congratulations using some foam dimension. For the you did it portion, I am adding some scrap cardstock just on the left side to keep everything at the same level. I think using the craft cardstock for the sentiment really worked well for this card. Trying to make sure to get that sentiment nice and straight. And then to finish up the card, I'll add some green gem stickers. These are from Honeybee Stamps. It's an older gem set. I'm trying to use up some of these sets, but they seem to last forever. So there is my finished card, and again, I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 4, I'm using Jaded Blossom's Triangle Card Matte Die. This is so fun. You could add 8 different pattern papers, but I decided to use the same pattern paper for the background. It's one of the more muted patterns in the collection with lots of different sentiments. I cut out the frame from some black cardstock, flipped it over, put some double-sided tape on the back side. Now I'm inlaying all of those die cut pieces. And I made sure to keep all of those papers in the same spots so the sentiments were still together. Now I'll flip over this piece, remove the release paper, and add it on some more black cardstock, leaving an 1/8 of an inch border around that black frame. Now put some ATG tape on the back and adhere my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll be adding one of the gnomes. Most of the gnome is already assembled. This will be a cute little bee gnome, and I just wanted to show how to assemble the wings. So there's the background piece for the wings that would go behind the gnome. I used some white shimmer cardstock. And then for the actual wings, I'm using some holographic silver cardstock. So it has a super shine. Since I am adhering two specialty cardstocks together, I used some liquid adhesive and also added my acrylic block just for that extra weight. Let that glue adhere. Now I can attach the wings to the back side of my little gnome. I did put a strip of double-sided tape to hold the wings to the gnome while I let that glue adhere. Then I'll pop her up using some more foam dimension. I love the contrast of the little girl in yellow against that gray and black background. For a little extra detail, I decided to add a scallop border to the very top of the frame, and this is from Jaded Blossom's Border Dies. I used some double-sided tape to adhere it in place. For the sentiment, I've already stamped this out. This is from Jaded Blossom's Whimsical Gnome stamp set. The sentiment is for a friend like gnome one else. If you weren't aware, Jaded Blossom has lots of great gnome stamp sets. Then to finish off the card, I'll add some more gem stickers. This is an older honeybee set. I'm using just the black color, adding 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 1 to the right of the gnome. Then I'll also add those little highlights using a white gel pen. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. The gnomes are just so adorable. I really didn't have a favorite card this time, but do let me know which card is your favorite. For card design number 5, I have some craft cardstock, and I've already done some paint splatter to the background. I used a dark green color and also white paint. I'm adding just a thin strip of this brown and white gingham pattern paper. Then I'm also adding 2 gold peel-off strips underneath the pattern paper. Usually I cut the peel-offs a little wider than the panel, but this time I'm cutting them flush. So I flip over this panel, use my scissors, and trim them off. Put some ATG tape on the back, and I'm adhering it on some white shimmer cardstock. But I decided to put it in the lower right-hand corner instead of centering it. Put my card front onto a card base. And here is my adorable little gnome that will be going onto my card, already all assembled. I added some butterfly wings, used some green glitter cardstock and also some green satin mirror cardstock, so they're super sparkly. She's holding a cup of coffee, and the coffee die is from the original Gnome Die set. I did put some foam dimension on the back side, and I'll adhere to my card sitting on top of that gingham pattern paper. For the sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out. This is from the original Happy Hello set using the new outline die. Stamped it on some white cardstock, and I'll adhere it using some liquid adhesive. So there is my finished card. I love how this one turned out. And again, I did make 2. For card design number 6, I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from Sugar Pea Designs. It's their Sugar Sketch number 16. I'm using the brown and white gingham paper for the background, adding a strip of this lovely floral paper. I did round the bottom 2 corners using my corner chomper. I'll layer all of these pieces on some dark green cardstock. And for this set of cards, I won't be adding any gnomes. Instead, I'll be focusing on the new Mother's Day sentiment set. I love the variety of sentiments included on that set. Put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For that strip that goes across the card behind the circle, I'm using some craft cardstock. I did put some scrap cardstock pieces on the very right and left side where it goes off of that floral paper. Already stamped out the sentiment, Happy Mother's Day. I love this beautiful font. And I stamped it using some Catherine Pooler spruce colored ink on some green cardstock. I will be popping this up using some foam dimension. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll add a pink flower, and this flower die is from the spring add-on set. The flower fits perfectly next to the word day on the sentiment, and I just used some solid cardstock for it. So there is my finished card, and this time I made a total of 3. I give Mother's Day cards to a local retirement home, so I usually need around 45 to 50. The nice thing about Mother's Day cards, I can go through all my floral cards and simply add a Mother's Day sentiment on the inside. And now I have lots of new sentiments on the Mother's Day stamp set. For card design number 7, the sketch is from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 52. I have this lovely floral paper with the green background for the top portion, using the craft and white polka dot paper for the bottom, adding a strip of pink cardstock, and this pink cardstock has a pearlescent finish, so it's really pretty. Using the scallop border die from Jaded Blossom and adhering this piece underneath that light pink cardstock. Layer the background on some dark green cardstock, put my card front onto a card base. Now instead of that half circle that's indicated on the sketch, I'll be adding an oval. I used some white shimmer cardstock for the oval, and I did put some scrap cardstock on the upper portion of the oval before adhering it to the card. Now I'll add my adorable little girl gnome. She's got blonde hair and she's holding the high sentiment. I am putting some foam just on the very top of her feet, but all the rest I'm using liquid adhesive. This little gnome is so adorable. I love the blonde hair. It reminds me of my little girl. I'll add a banner in the upper right hand corner, and I used Jaded Blossom's banner die set for that. So there is my finished card, and this time I made a total of 3. For card design number 8, I have some craft cardstock for the background. I used a stitched front die from Concord and Ninth to add those fun diagonal stripe details. Then I have a strip of the gingham brown and white pattern paper on the bottom. I put some small scrap pieces of the gold peel-offs. You're only going to see the very ends since the rest will be covered up with a couple of gnomes. And I have 2 gnomes to add to the card, a boy and a girl. I am popping both of them up using some foam dimension. I'll adhere the boy first on the right side of the card. Then I can add the little girl. And I left off the foam dimension behind her right foot just because it'll be overlapping the boy gnome's green shoe. So I did put a drop of liquid adhesive so it wasn't sticking out. I put an acrylic block, just letting that glue adhere. Now I'll be adding some balloon die cuts. I have a light pink, a light green, and also that coral pink color. I'm attaching some white twine. I have a piece of double-sided tape to really secure that twine, and then just a small drop of glue at the end of the balloon so the twine is in the correct placement. I'll be popping up all of the balloons using some foam dimension, and for now I'm leaving the balloon strings long, but I will be cutting those down here shortly. So once I have the placement correct, now I'll trim down one of the balloon strings, and I'll be tucking the end underneath the gnome. So I'm using my tweezers and just pushing it underneath where I added some liquid adhesive. Then I'll do the same to the 2 balloons on the left side by the girl. And I'm trying to get those strings nice and straight. I want them to look like they're anchored behind the 2 little gnomes. Just getting the final balloon string and gluing down the little girl's pigtail on the left side. Now both of the gnomes are bringing some goodies to the birthday party they're attending. I used Jaded Blossom's birthday banner die set. There's lots of small pieces and they fit perfectly for the gnomes to hold. So the boy gnome will be holding the present. So it's a white present with the pink bow. And the little girl will be holding the cupcake. And this is a sparkly cupcake since it has green glitter frosting. Once the present and the cupcake are all assembled, I can attach the gnome hands. I am putting that foam dimension on the back side of the present, the cupcake, and the hands. So we'll give the present to the boy first, add his hands, and then we'll give the cupcake to the little girl. I'm not sure I've ever seen a cupcake with green glitter frosting before, but I love that extra sparkle. Now I can add the girl's hands. And for the sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out. It'll be happy birthday to you. And I did put some thin foam strips of dimension on the back side. And I decided to have all of the sentiments at a different angle just for a little extra interest. For final finishing touch, I'll add some of the highlights using a white gel pen. Put some on the balloons, on the gnomes, the cupcake, and also the bow of the present. And there is my finished card. Again, I did make two using this design. I love how this one turned out. It was fun having the girl and the boy gnome on the same card. They do fill up most of an A2 size card, but it still works. You could also add them on a larger size. I think a slimline would be fun as well. Now here's another look at the 18 cards I made using Jaded Blossom's brand new April 2022 release, and it includes girl gnomes, and they are absolutely adorable. The gnomes are so easy to assemble and perfect if you don't like to color, although Jaded Blossom also sells lots of adorable gnome stamps. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. I always look forward to using Jaded Blossom products. Their stamps and dies are amazing quality, plus they're made here in the US, which is always a bonus. Now, in addition to the 18 cards I showed, I do have some more gnomes to share with you. My mother and sister-in-law love gnomes, and they saw that I was assembling some little gnome cards, so they requested some ornaments with all of the little gnomes. So instead of attaching the gnome to a card, I adhered them onto either a circle or an oval. And I cut out two of the ovals or the circles, glued them together, cut a hole at the top, and then just attached a piece of twine. So here's the assortment of gnomes that I made for my in-laws. Some of the gnomes are repeats that I made on the cards, and then I made a few different. This gnome in the upper right-hand corner is one of my favorites with the green hat and the sunglasses. And the sunglass dies are one of Jaded Blossom sets. I also have the gnome with the pattern paper hat, that little yellow and orange hat holding the red mushroom. And then the purple girl with the bunny ears holding the high sentiment. My mother-in-law loves the color purple. My sister-in-law loves the color green. So I made sure to add both of those. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.